The rain hammered the football field like God's own judgment, turning the turf into a slick battlefield. Jack Harlan, the king of Crestwood High's jock hierarchy, swung his fist at my face, but I dodged, my heart pounding not from fear, but from the fire in his eyes, the kind that said he hated me because I saw through him. I tackled him hard, our bodies slamming into the mud, and before he could shove me off, I crushed my lips against his, tasting salt and fury, stealing the kiss he'd never given anyone. He froze beneath me, his broad chest heaving, those storm-gray eyes wide with something sharper than rage. Betrayal. "What the fuck, Evan?" he snarled, shoving me away so violently I rolled into a puddle, the cold water shocking my skin. But even as he scrambled up, wiping his mouth like I'd poisoned him, I saw it, the flicker, the crack in his armor. Jack Harlan, the bully who'd made my life hell for 3 years, had just been kissed by the quiet gay kid from art class, and the world tilted on its axis. I laughed, a ragged sound that cut through the downpour, because what else could I do? "You punch like you kiss, Jack. All bark, no bite." He lunged again, but this time his hands gripped my jacket instead of my throat, pulling me close enough that I could smell the leather of his Letterman jacket mixed with wet earth. For a split second, he didn't let go, and in that Ohio twilight, with thunder rumbling like a warning, I wondered if I just ignited a war or sparked a revolution in his soul. Crestwood High sat like a forgotten relic in the Rust Belt town of Milford, Ohio, where factories shuttered decades ago and dreams rusted alongside the steel mills. It was the kind of place where Friday nights meant football under floodlights, and Sundays were for church potlucks that whispered about sinners behind lace curtains. I was Evan Riley, 17, the skinny artist with paint-stained fingers and a sketchbook full of boys who looked suspiciously like the ones who shoved me into lockers. My mom's. Yeah, the lesbian power couple who'd adopted me from a Chicago foster system, had moved us here 5 years back, chasing affordable rent and a fresh start. But fresh starts in Milford meant blending in, and I was about as blendable as a rainbow flag at a MAGA rally. Jack was the opposite. 6'2" of quarterback muscle, with a jawline that could cut glass and a reputation forged in broken noses and whispered threats. He ruled the halls with his crew. Tyler the linebacker, who once pantsed me in the cafeteria, and Mitch, whose idea of humor was scrawling "fag" on my locker in Sharpie. Jack didn't start the taunts. He amplified them, his deep voice barking orders like a drill sergeant. But I'd watched him for months, sketching him in secret during pep rallies, noticing the way his shoulders tensed when coach praised another guy's throw, or how he'd linger in the showers, eyes darting away from the steam-shrouded bodies. That rainy Tuesday after school, it all boiled over. Practice had ended early, coach yelling about soft spines as the sky cracked open, and I'd stayed behind to sketch the empty stands, charcoal blurring under my thumb. Jack stormed out of the locker room alone, his bag slung over one shoulder, fury radiating off him like heat from a tailpipe. I'd heard the rumors. His dad, the ex-Marine turned auto shop owner, had caught him staring too long at a wrestling match on TV, and the belt marks on Jack's arms weren't from football tackles. He spotted me first, a shadow under the bleachers. "Riley," he growled, voice low and lethal. "You drawing your little fairy tales again? Bet it's me this time, huh? Gonna jerk off to that later?" The words stung, but I stood, sketchbook clutched like a shield, meeting his glare. "Maybe I am. What's it to you, Harlan? Afraid I'll capture that pretty mouth of yours." He charged then, fist flying, and that's when I snapped. 3 years of swallowed insults, of hiding bruises from my mom's, of lying awake wondering why I couldn't just be straight like everyone else. It erupted. I sidestepped, hooked his ankle, and down he went, mud splashing up his thighs. Straddling him, I grabbed his collar, and in that mad impulse, I kissed him. Not soft, not tentative. A claim, a challenge, lips bruising against his unyielding ones. When I pulled back, his face was a mask of horror and hunger, cheeks flushed under the rain. He shoved me off, staggering to his feet, but he didn't run. "You're dead, Riley. Fucking dead." Yet his voice cracked, and as he backed away, I swear I saw his tongue dart out, tasting the ghost of me. The next morning, The halls buzzed like a hive on fire. Whispers slithered. Jack had skipped homeroom. Tyler smirking like he'd won the lottery. I kept my head down, doodling fractured hearts in the margins of my history notes. But by lunch, Mitch cornered me in the bathroom. Heard you tried to suck face with Harlan yesterday. Bold move, queerbait. Hope you like hospital food. I washed my hands, ignoring the tremor, and met his eyes in the mirror. Tell Jack I said hi, and that round two's on him. Mitch laughed, but it was hollow, and as he left, I caught my reflection. Eyes bright, lips still swollen. I crossed a line, and there was no uncrossing it. That afternoon, art class was my sanctuary. Miss Hargrove droning about chiaroscuro while sunlight slanted through grimy windows. I was lost in a canvas, swirling oils into the shape of storm clouds over a lone figure, when the door banged open. Jack stood there, drenched from the sudden squall outside. His hair plastered to his forehead, eyes locked on me like a missile. Out! He barked at the class, and to my shock, they scattered. Miss Hargrove included, muttering about teen drama. The door clicked shut, and the room shrank to just us, the air thick with turpentine and tension. You think that's funny? He hissed, advancing like a predator. Kissing me like some psycho? Ruining everything. I set down my brush, heart slamming. Ruining? Jack, you've been ruining my life since freshman year. Call it payback. He grabbed my shirt, slamming me against the easel, paint cans clattering. You don't know shit about me, Riley. You're just a freak who gets off on this. Our faces were inches apart, breaths mingling, and I saw it again. That pull, the way his pupils dilated. Then hit me, I whispered. End it, or admit you felt it too. His grip tightened, knuckles white, and for a heartbeat, I thought he'd snap my neck. Instead, his mouth crashed into mine, rough and desperate, teeth nipping as if to punish. It wasn't gentle. It was war, hands fisting in hair, bodies pressing until the easel toppled. We broke apart gasping, his forehead against mine, a ragged fuck escaping his lips. That was the spark. From there, it burned slow and secret. Stolen moments in the art room after hours, his calloused fingers tracing my ribs under fluorescent lights. Kisses in the bed of his beat-up Ford truck, parked behind the abandoned mill, where the river whispered secrets to the willows. Jack talked then, in halting bursts, like pulling teeth, about his dad's rages, the pressure to be the man of the house, since his mom bailed for a job in Cleveland. He says it'll make me soft, he'd mutter, head on my chest, loving wrong. I'd hold him, sketching lazy patterns on his back, whispering that love wasn't a weakness. It was the only strength that mattered. But Milford wasn't forgiving. Tyler caught us once, Jack's hand lingering too long on my thigh during a bonfire party. Dude, what the hell? He'd slurred, beer bottle dangling. Jack laughed it off, just messing with the fairy. But his eyes were dead, and that night, he punched the truck's dashboard until his knuckles bled. The betrayal came swift, a knife in the gut. Homecoming week, floats and banners papering the town in red and gold. Jack was crowned king, of course, waving from the queen's side. Some cheerleader named Becca, all blonde curls and vacant smiles. I watched from the crowd, stomach twisting, until Tyler shoved a phone in my face during the dance. A video. Grainy footage of us in the truck, my hand down his jeans, his moans muffled but unmistakable. Smile for the yearbook, lover boy, Tyler sneered, and the crowd around us parted, phones out, laughter like shrapnel. Jack stood across the gym, face pale as the punch bowl, but he didn't move, didn't deny it, just stared, then turned away, disappearing into the throng with Becca on his arm. I ran, out into the cornfields behind the school, where stalks whipped my face like accusations. Curled under the harvest moon, I sobbed until dawn, the video already viral in our group's chat. Harlan's dirty secret. Monday hit like a freight train. The school had transformed overnight into a coliseum. Me the unwitting gladiator. Lockers vandalized with slurs in dripping red paint. Cocksucker, AIDS factory. and every eye tracked me down the halls, a mix of pity and predation. My moms noticed the bruise blooming on my cheek from where I'd face-planted in the field, but I lied, said it was a skateboarding wipeout. "Be careful out there, Ev," Mom Jen murmured over breakfast pancakes, her lawyer eyes sharp but trusting. Mom Lisa squeezed my hand, her therapist intuition humming, but I smiled, because what could I say? That I'd fallen for the devil and he'd pushed me off the cliff? Jack avoided me like the plague, his truck peeling out of the parking lot before the bell even rang. Whispers said he'd confessed to his dad, the video forcing his hand, and old Harlan Sr. had locked him down. No phone, no car, grounded till graduation. Part of me hoped it was true, that the exposure cracked his shell wide open. But the bigger part, the raw, bleeding heart of me, knew better. Betrayal like that wasn't accidental. It was a choice, and Jack had chosen survival over us. Art class was torture. Ms. Hargrove pulled me aside after the bell, her silver braids swinging like a pendulum. "Evan, honey, if you need to talk." She trailed off, glancing at the smeared canvas where Jack's face had been. Now just abstract slashes of black and crimson. I nodded, throat tight, and bolted to the roof access, a forbidden perch I discovered sophomore year. Up there, with the wind whipping off Lake Erie, I chain-smoked pilfered menthols and sketched the skyline. Smokestacks belching ghosts, the distant glow of Cleveland mocking our smallness. That's where he found me 2 days later during fifth period. The door creaked, and there was Jack, disheveled in a hoodie that swallowed his frame, shadows under his eyes like bruises. "Riley," he said, voice rough as gravel, "we gotta talk." I flicked my cigarette over the edge, watching it spiral into oblivion. "Talk? Like how you let Tyler leak that video, or how you paraded Becca around like a shield while the whole town laughed at me." He winced, stepping closer, the rooftop gravel crunching under his sneakers. "It wasn't like that. Dad found my phone, saw the texts. He flipped, said he'd disown me, send me to conversion camp in bumfuck Texas. Tyler. He cornered me, said he'd tell everyone unless I played along. The video was insurance, Evan. I didn't send it. Bullshit." I stood, fists clenched, the wind tugging at my jacket. "You could have fought, told him to fuck off. But you hid, Jack. Left me bleeding in the open." His face crumpled, that unbreakable Harlan mask shattering. He dropped to his knees, right there on the tar, grabbing my hands like a drowning man. "I know. God, I know. I'm a coward. Every night, I replay it, your laugh in the truck, the way you draw my scars like they're beautiful. I love you, Evan. That's why it hurts so much. Love." The word hung between us, heavier than the rain clouds massing on the horizon. I yanked my hands away, but he didn't let go of my gaze, those gray eyes pleading, raw. "Prove it," I whispered, voice breaking. "Walk in there tomorrow, tell the world, or we're done." He nodded, fierce and terrified, and pulled me down into a kiss that tasted of desperation and redemption. Slow, aching, his tears mixing with mine on the cold roof. From there, it was a tightrope. We met in shadows. The old mill at midnight, where rusted beams creaked like confessions. The back pew of the abandoned chapel on Route 6, dust motes dancing in moonlight as we mapped each other's bodies with reverent hands. Jack opened up, layer by layer. His first crush on a summer camp counselor at 12. The shame that twisted into rage, fueling his bullying like gasoline on a pyre. "I picked on you 'cause you were brave," he admitted one night, head in my lap as fireflies blinked outside. "Out and proud, drawing what you felt. I hated that I couldn't be you." I'd stroke his hair, golden in the firelight from a stolen lantern, and share my own ghosts. The foster homes before my mom's, fists from uncles who hated my softness. The first boy who kissed me in Chicago, only to ghost when his friends found out. "We're both fucked up," I'd say. "But together, maybe we're whole." Yet the town closed in. Tyler escalated, cornering Jack after practice with homophobic slurs that echoed off the bleachers. "Fucking traitor," he spat, and Jack decked him. One punch, clean and cathartic, splitting Tyler's lip. Coach suspended him for a game, citing aggression issues. But whispers spread. Harlan's gone soft, mooning over the art fag. My mom's caught wind too. Over meatloaf that Thursday, Mom Jen slid a printout across the table. A screenshot from the school forum, blurry but damning. Jack and me, hands linked behind the mill. Evan? She said softly, no judgment, just concern. Is this the wipeout you mentioned? I froze, fork midway to my mouth. Mom Lisa reached for my hand, her voice steady. We love you, kiddo. Always have, always will. But Milford, it's not Chicago. People here hold grudges like holy relics. Tears burned, but I nodded. His name's Jack. And yeah, it's real. Scary real. They hugged me then, a tangle of arms and whispers. Our brave boy. And for the first time, the weight lifted a fraction. But outside, headlights swept the driveway. Jack's truck, engine idling like a getaway car. He climbed the porch steps, Harlan Sr.'s shadow looming in the window behind him. Evan? Jack panted, out of breath from the sprint. Dad knows. Everything. He's giving me an ultimatum. You or the family. My heart plummeted. And Jack's jaw set, that quarterback resolve firing up. Fuck the family if it means losing you. He kissed me right there, on the porch swing, with my mom's peeking through curtains and the neighbor's dog barking at the stars. It was reckless, a declaration, and as his dad's pickup roared to life in the distance, tires spinning gravel like a curse, we knew the storm had truly broken. The fallout was biblical. Harlan Sr. cut Jack off cold. No truck, no allowance, kicked him out with a duffel and a, don't come back till you're straight. Jack crashed on my couch. My mom's turning our split level into a makeshift bunker. Extra blankets, Lisa's famous chili, Jen's legal pads for what-ifs. We planned escapes. Community college in Akron for me, a welding gig for him, scraping by in a one-bedroom till we could breathe free. But betrayal's shadow lingered. Tyler, nursing his grudge, rallied the crew. During the big game against Riverton, state playoffs on the line, he slipped something into Jack's Gatorade. Roofies, they later said, enough to fuzz his throws and turn the quarterback into a stumbling ghost. Crestwood lost 28-7. The crowd's boos a thunderclap, and in the chaos of the locker room, Tyler cornered us. You think you're heroes? He sneered, fists balled, Mitch and two others flanking him. This town's got rules, Harlan. You broke 'em. Jack stepped forward, still woozy, shielding me. Rules? Like beating on kids who don't fit your redneck mold? We're done hiding, Ty. Done. The fight erupted. Fists flying, lockers denting, blood on the tiles. I grabbed a mop handle, swinging wild, but it was Jack who took the worst. A boot to the ribs from Mitch, Tyler's knee to his jaw. I screamed, tackling Tyler off him, nails raking his cheek until security hauled us apart. In the ER, under harsh fluorescence, Jack gripped my hand, stitches fresh on his brow. Worth it? He mumbled through swollen lips, and I believed him, because in that sterile limbo, with beeps and antiseptic sting, our love felt unbreakable. Yet cracks spiderwebbed. Whispers turned to threats. Slashed tires on my mom's Volvo. Anonymous calls breathing fire and brimstone. Jack withdrew, nights staring at the ceiling, murmuring about enlisting. Just to escape to send money home. I can't drag you down, Evan, he'd say, voice hollow. You're light. I'm the storm. I'd kiss his doubts away, bodies entwining on the lumpy couch, slow and sacred, mapping freckles like constellations. We're the thunder, I'd counter. And it shakes the world. Homecoming's ghost haunted us still. Becca, of all people, cornered me in the hall one crisp November morning. Her cheer uniform crisp as her words. Jack's using you, she said, eyes wet but steely. Told me last week, he'd dump you in a heartbeat if Dad came crawling back. Said you're just a phase. Lies I told myself, but doubt seeded. That night, I confronted him in the garage, oil stains on the concrete like old sins. Is it true? Am I your rebellion, Jack? Your fuck you to the old man. He recoiled, face ashen. Becca's full of shit. She's jealous, always has been. But his eyes darted, and when I pressed, he cracked. Okay. I talked to him, begged Evan not to go back, just for a truce. Mentioned us as leverage. Like, see? I'm trying to be better. Leverage. The word gutted me. You used me? After everything. No. He lunged, but I backed away, the betrayal fresh as the video sting. Evan, please. Get out. The words tasted like ash. He left at dawn, duffel slung, the door clicking like a guillotine. Winter clamped down on Milford like a vice, snow blanketing the fields in indifferent white, muffling the echoes of our war. Jack vanished into the ether. Rumors said he couch-surfed with distant cousins in Toledo. Others that he joined the delayed enlistment his dad always pushed. I threw myself into art, canvases piling up in the basement. Fractured portraits of him, eyes stormy, lips parted in mid-confession. My mom's hovered, gentle as snowfall. Therapy sessions with Lisa's colleague, Jen burning midnight oil on emancipation papers if we needed them. But the house felt hollow, my sketches the only ghosts that spoke. School was a gauntlet. Tyler's crew had splintered without Jack's gravity. Mitch avoided my gaze, whispering apologies in the halls, while Tyler simmered, his slurs quieter now, laced with a fear I hadn't earned. Ms. Hargrove entered my work in the State Fair. Eclipse, a diptych of light-piercing shadow, and it won blue, the judge's note praising its raw emotional depth. I stared at the ribbon, numb, because the depth was a grave, and Jack was buried there. Christmas came garish and forced. Twinkling lights on Main Street, carols blaring from the diner where waitresses in elf hats slung eggnog lattes. My mom's threw a solstice party. Queer neighbors from the edges of town, rainbow ornaments clinking like toasts to survival. I smiled through it, sketching faces in the margins of napkins. But when the clock struck midnight, I slipped out to the backyard, breath fogging in the frigid air. He was there, silhouette against the snow-draped pines, bundled in a coat too thin for the bite. Evan? Jack breathed, steam curling from his lips. I couldn't stay away. My heart lurched, hate and hunger in equal measure. You shouldn't be here. Go back to your truce. He stepped closer, flakes catching in his lashes like stars. There is no truce. Dad disowned me for good, said blood don't mean loyalty if it's bent. I'm crashing with a buddy in the city, flipping burgers at Mickey D's. But every night it's you. Your hands, your laugh. I fucked up. Evan, let me fix it. I wanted to shove him into the snow, to scream until my voice shattered the ice. Instead, I kissed him. Fierce, punishing, tasting pine and regret. We tumbled against the garden shed, coats shedding like skins, bodies seeking warmth in the cold. It was frantic, fingers fumbling with zippers, breaths ragged against collarbones, the world narrowing to slick skin and whispered pleas. Afterward, tangled in a blanket stolen from the deck, he traced my tattoo, a small rainbow infinity on my wrist, and vowed, no more hiding, I swear. Spring thawed the lies. Jack transferred back mid-semester, defiance in his stride, my hand brushing his in the halls when no one looked. We built a fragile normalcy. Study dates in the library, where he'd quiz me on bio while I doodled his profile. Drives to the lake, windows down, Springsteen blasting as we sang off-key about Born to Run Hearts. He came out to his coach first, halting in the equipment room, sweat from drills still beading his brow. Coach Ramirez, a burly Latino with a mustache like a broom, clapped his shoulder. Takes balls, kid. More than throwing a spiral. No fanfare, just quiet acceptance. And Jack cried in my arms that night, the dam finally breaching. The town shifted grudgingly. Becca unfriended him on Insta, but Ms. Hargrove hung our couple portrait, subtle, two figures in chiaroscuro embrace, in the hall showcase. Even Tyler thawed, cornering us after gym with a mumbled, sorry man, was scared shitless myself. Turns out, his brother's suicide 2 summers back, hanged in the barn, note citing the voices, had twisted him into a mirror of his own hate. Jack forgave him because that's who he was becoming. Not the bully, but the boy who'd learned mercy from a kiss. But climax brewed in the undercurrents. Graduation loomed, caps and gowns a promise of escape, but Harlan Sr. resurfaced like a bad sequel. He showed at the senior picnic, uninvited, in his grease-stained flannel, eyes bloodshot from whatever demons chased him. "Jackie," he slurred, voice thick with cores. "Come home. We can fix this. Church camp therapy. Make you right." Jack stiffened beside me on the bleachers, hot dogs forgotten. "Dad, it's over. I'm gay. Evan's my life. Deal or don't." The old man lunged, grabbing Jack's arm, knuckles white. "Life? This perversion'll kill you, boy. Seen it. My cousin, rotted from the inside out with that filth." Spittle flew, and the crowd hushed, phones slyly angling. I stood, pulse thundering. "Let him go. Now." Harlan Sr. rounded on me, face purpled. You poisoned him, you little shit." His free hand swung, a haymaker aimed at my jaw, but Jack twisted, shoving him back. The shove turned to a grapple. Father and son tumbling down the steps in a flurry of limbs and curses, the crowd gasping as they hit the gravel below. "Jack!" I vaulted the rail, landing hard, knees barking. Harlan Sr. pinned him, fist raised for the killing blow, but Jack bucked, knee to gut, and reversed, straddling his dad, arms locked. "Stop! Dad, please. I love you. But this ends." The old man stilled, chest heaving, eyes wild with something beyond rage. Grief, maybe, for the son he'd lost to his own hate. "You were my boy," he wheezed, voice cracking. "My legacy. And I'm still me," Jack said, soft as snowfall. "Just whole now." He helped him up, dust shaking from flannel, and for a miracle's breath, Harlan Sr. didn't swing again. He just walked away, shoulders slumped, into the parking lot haze. We didn't press charges, Jack's call humanistic to the core. "He raised me," he said later, ice packed to his split lip. "Flaws and all. Maybe that's enough for now." Summer unfurled lazy and lush, fireflies scripting Morse code in the fields. We worked odd jobs. Me at the art supply store, mixing pigments like elixirs. Jack at the garage, ironically under his uncle's wing, tools clanging like therapy. Nights were ours. Bonfires on the lakeshore, where we'd dance barefoot to fiddles on a boombox, his head on my shoulder, whispering futures. "Akron," he'd say. "You studying fine arts, me apprenticing welds. Little apartment with a balcony for your sketches." I'd laugh, nuzzling his neck. "And a dog. Big dumb mutt named after Springsteen." But betrayal's echo lingered, a dissonant note. One muggy July evening, as cicadas droned, Tyler texted Jack a link. An old video, not ours, but Harlan Sr.'s, grainy camcorder footage from Jack's 12th birthday. The old man drunk and ranting about fairy godfathers, while Jack hid under the table, eyes wide. "Found this in the attic," Tyler wrote. "Dude's a monster. Sorry I was his echo." Jack watched it alone first, then called me over, face ashen in the laptop glow. "He always knew," he murmured. "Hated me before I even did." We burned the drive that night, flames licking plastic in a rusted barrel, Jack's hand in mine as sparks ascended like prayers. "No more ghosts," he said, and kissed me under the Milky Way, slow and sure, the world vast and kind for once. Yet the real storm gathered in August as college packets arrived. My acceptance to Akron U gleamed, full ride, scholarship gods smiling. But Jack's deferral notice from the community college landed like lead. "Budget cuts," they said. "No spots for non-trads." "I'll enlist," he joked, but his eyes were serious. The military a siren call his dad had crooned since Little League. "Don't," I begged, in the cab of his uncle's loaner truck, parked at the overlook where Milford twinkled below like fool's gold. "We'll figure it." Call cut me off. Mom Jen, voice tight. "Evan, get home. Now." We raced back, dread coiling. Harlan Sr. sat on our porch, sober for once, a manila envelope in his lap. "Jackie," he said, standing as we approached. "I sold the shop. This is for you, tuition, books. Go to school. B. Whatever you need. Jack froze, the air electric. Why now? The old man swallowed, gaze flicking to me. Wary, but not venomous. Watched you fight for him. Reminded me of your mom. Fierce love. I was wrong. Scared. Take it, son. Start over. It was redemption's whisper, fragile as frost. Jack took the envelope, tears carving tracks down his dust-streaked cheeks, and hugged his dad. Awkward, bone-crushing, the first in years. I hung back, heart swelling because this was human. Messy, late, but real. Fall semester hit Akron like a revelation. Brick quads alive with laughter, coffee shops humming with accents from coasts we'd only dreamed of. Our apartment was a shoebox on East Market. Peeling wallpaper, a fire escape that rattled in wind. But it was ours. Rent split from Jack's welding stipend and my campus gig illustrating zines. Mornings started tangled in thrift store sheets, his stubble rasping my shoulder as sunlight slanted through blinds. Evenings ended with takeout tie and bad TV. His head in my lap while I read poetry aloud. Whitman, of course, all I sing the body electric. Jack bloomed there, away from Milford's chokehold. Welding classes turned his hands calloused but sure, sparks flying like his newfound voice. He joined the GSA, shy at first, then fierce. Speaking at panels about rural closets, the bully to ally arc earning snaps from rainbow-haired activists. You're a natural, I'd tease, kissing his temple after a rally, and he'd blush, that farm boy humility intact. I thrived too, oils and acrylics spilling across studio floors, professors praising my visceral queer narratives. One Piece, Reclamation, a triptych of Jack's transformation. Shadowed Torment, Mud-Slick Kiss, Sunlit Embrace. Hung in the student gallery, drawing crowds and a local arts grant. My mom's visited once, beaming over pumpkin spice lattes. Jen grilling Jack on his 5-year plan while Lisa slipped me condoms with a wink. Proud of you, Ev. Both of you. But paradise has thorns. Midterms crushed us. Jack pulling all-nighters, arc welder scars fresh on his forearms. Me chugging espresso, canvases due like guillotines. Distance crept in, Milford a ghost we ignored until Tyler's email arrived. A scanned letter from Harlan Sr., postmarked weeks ago. Son, it read in the old man's blocky scrawl. Shop's quiet without you. Sold the truck. Too many memories. If you're happy, that's something. Write when you can. Love, Dad. Jack read it aloud, voice thick, then folded it into his wallet like a talisman. Human, right? Even monsters evolve. Yet evolution's path twisted. Becca transferred to Akron U that spring. Nursing major, all business. But her eyes lingered on Jack in the quad. Lunches coincidentally overlapping. She was civil at first, even friendly. Study group invites, laughs over shared high school scars. You two are cute, she'd say. But there was an edge, a hunger for what she'd lost. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? Until the night I came home early from a critique session, paint under my nails, expecting takeout and tangled limbs. The apartment was dark, but voices murmured from the fire escape. Jack's low rumble, Becca's soft lilt. Missed this, she said, and then silence. Too long, too charged. I froze in the kitchen, heart hammering, shadows playing tricks through the blinds. Footsteps, a rustle, her laugh, breathless. Jack, wait. The door banged open, them spilling in, flushed from the chill. Becca's hand on his arm, casual but not. Evan, Jack startled, pulling away. You're back early. Becca smiled, too bright. Just dropping off notes for psych. Jack's hopeless with Freud. She breezed past, pecking my cheek, perfume cloying, and left with a wave. I waited till her car hummed away, then whirled. What the fuck, Jack? His face fell. Nothing, swear. She cornered me outside, old times, regrets. I told her we're solid. But doubt festered, a canker. Texts I glimpsed. Remember prom? We were kings and queens. His replies curt, but why reply at all? Nights, he'd roll away in sleep, murmurs of sorry on his lips. I buried it in work, But the gallery show loomed. My big break, a downtown space with collectors buzzing, and stress amplified the whispers. Climax cracked open on a rainy April Friday, the kind that turns streets to mirrors, reflecting back our fractures. I was prepping for the opening, framing reclamation, nerves electric, when Jack texted, "Late, welding overtime, love you," but intuition prickled. I drove to the shop anyway, wipers slashing the downpour. The garage door gaped, fluorescent buzz illuminating Becca's Civic parked sly. Inside, shadows shifted. Jack against the workbench, her pressed close, lips on his neck. He pushed her back, gentle, but the damage bloomed like ink in water. "Evan!" He spotted me, wrench clattering from his hand. Becca turned, mascara streaking. "It's not. Save it." I backed out, rain lashing my face like judgment, tires hydroplaning as I fled to the apartment. Curled on the fire escape, soaked and shivering, I waited for the lie, the excuse. He arrived at midnight, drenched, eyes red-rimmed. She kissed me. I stopped it, pushed her away. "Called you, but no answer." Liar. The word shattered me. Texts, the laughs, the old times. "You're still playing both sides, Jack." The bully's son, scared of the light. He dropped to his knees on the wet metal, gripping the bars. "No. God, Evan, it's you always. Becca's. She's nothing." A ghost from the cage I escaped. Tears mixed with rain, his voice raw. "Remember the roof? The vow? I broke it once. Won't again. Please." I wanted to believe, ached to, but betrayal's math was cruel. One video, one leverage play, now this. "Prove it." I echoed my old challenge, voice steel. "End it. Cut her out. Or we're poison." He nodded, fierce, pulling me into the rain. Kissing me there, desperate and deep, water sluicing between us like baptism. "I choose you. Every time." We clawed back from the brink. Jack blocked Becca, changed his number, threw himself into therapy. Group sessions at the campus center, unpacking the Harlan legacy with a counselor's gentle probes. "Dad's love was conditional," he'd say over late-night ramen. "Mine won't be." I forgave, slowly, painting over the doubt with trust's bold strokes. Our bodies a canvas of reconciliation, slow explorations under candlelight, whispers of forever sealing the wounds. Summer beckoned with internships. Mine at a Cleveland gallery, his at a fab shop in Columbus. Distance tested us. Weekend drives, FaceTime laced with "I miss your hands." But we endured, roots deepening. Harlan Sr. wrote again, a postcard of the Grand Canyon. "Saw this. Thought of your mom's dreams. Proud, Jackie. And the boy who makes you smile." Jack framed it, hung by our bed. The gallery opening was magic. Velvet ropes, champagne flutes, collectors murmuring over reclamation. Jack stood beside me in a thrift blazer, hand at my back, as a critic from Scene gushed. "This captures the queer American odyssey, torment to triumph." We toasted that night in a dive bar, pool cues clacking, his grin boyish and free. But humanism demands shadows. September brought news. Tyler, clean a year from pills, out as bi in a raw Facebook post. "Jack showed me mirrors ain't just for hating," he wrote. Invites followed, a Milford reunion, casual beers at the diner. We went, cautious, the old booth scarred but welcoming. Harlan Sr. showed 2 sober 6 months, AA chip glinting. Awkward handshakes, stilted talk of weather and jobs. But when he pulled Jack aside, murmuring "Sorry, son," for all of it, and Jack hugged him, long, unbreaking. Tears pricked my eyes. Redemption, Milford style. Gritty, incomplete, but a start. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting campus in fire. Jack proposed. Not with rings, but a sketch I'd drawn years back. His face in mud after that first kiss, now inked on his forearm, mine. "Marry me?" he asked, on the quad under a sycamore, knee not bent but heart open. "Not legal yet, but in hours, yes?" I tackled him laughing into the leaves. Yes on my lips, the world a blur of gold and grace. Yet betrayal's final twist waited in December. Snow dusting the fire escape like sugar. A letter for Jack, forwarded from Milford. Becca's handwriting, envelope heavy. Inside an ultrasound, 8 weeks, she wrote. It's yours? Or his? We need to talk. The air sucked out. Jack's face drained, crumpling the paper. The shop night. She must have. But I stopped. Denial crashed, but math didn't lie. One lapse, one ghost's grasp, and our fragile empire teetered. The apartment shrank to a pressure cooker. The ultrasound a grenade on the coffee table. Becca's words screaming silent accusations. Jack paced, hands raking his hair, golden strands now threaded with frost from the chill seeping through cracks. Evan, I swear. That night it was a kiss, nothing more. She left pissed, I came home to you. This can't be. I sat frozen, the image blurring through tears. Tiny blip, a life unasked. Then why the doubt? Yours? Or his? She thinks. Tyler's. He stopped, voice hollow. Prom night, senior year. We were wasted, stupid. It was before us, before everything. But if it's mine. Fuck. The confession landed like a sucker punch. Prom. Becca on his arm, me watching from shadows, heart a piñata. I'd buried it, but ghosts rise. You never said. Didn't matter then. He knelt, hands on my knees, eyes pleading. It was pity, regret. You're my truth, Evan. Always. I shoved him back, standing, the room spinning. Truth? Or another Harlan secret? Rain lashed the window, mirroring the storm inside. Doubt. Rage. A love too deep to drown. Call her. Now. He did, speakerphone crackling with her sobs. Jack? God. I didn't know where. The scan. Talk. Silence, then. It's Tyler's. Tested. He ghosted when I told him, so I thought maybe you that night. Sorry. I was scared. Relief flooded, but tainted. Her desperation a mirror to our own fractures. Jack hung up, collapsing against me. It's okay. We're okay. But were we? The scare unearthed roots. My fear of abandonment, foster scars aching. His of unworthiness, Dad's shadow long. We fought that week. Ugly. Words like shrapnel. You're still the bully, hiding behind sorry, I'd yell. And you're the martyr, waiting for me to fail, he'd fire back. Nights alone on the couch, sketching his silhouette in anger's sharp lines, wondering if love was masochism. Therapy saved us, couple sessions in a cozy office, Dr. Patel's calm voice a lighthouse. Betrayal isn't the act, she said. It's the echo. Face it together. We did. Letters burned in the sink, vows renewed over cheap wine. No more ghosts, Jack whispered, tattoo peeking from his sleeve. I traced it, forgiving not for him, but us. Spring Senior Showcase. My thesis show, Fractured Light. A series weaving our story. Kiss in mud, roof confessions, ultrasound shadow yielding to dawn embrace. Critics raved. A New York scout slipped me a card. Raw. Resonant. You've got voice. Jack beamed from the front row, arm around me as flashes popped. His pride a bomb. Graduation dawned golden, gowns billowing on the field. Harlan Sr. came, flights from Reno, where he'd relocated post-divorce. Irony. AA led to leaving the bottle and the hate. He shook my hand firm, eyes wet. You saved him, kid. Thank you. Jack hugged him on stage, diploma in fist. The crowd's cheers a wave washing old sins. Summer post-college. Jack's welding cert landed a gig in Pittsburgh, Union Strong. Mine, an assistantship at a Soho gallery, city lights calling. We debated split or sacrifice. But chose tandem, me remote sketching for NYC firms, him commuting. The apartment filled with blueprints and brushes. Our life a collage. Betrayal's last gasp came in July, a heatwave haze. Tyler called, sober, steady, begging Jack for a favor. Co-sign a loan for Becca's maternity leave. Baby due any day. She's alone, man. Ty bailed for good. Jack wavered, old loyalties tugging. But look to me. We decide together. I nodded, heart full. Help her. But boundaries. We wired the funds anonymously. A quiet act of grace. No strings, just humanity's thread. Fall brought roots. A down payment on a row house in Polish Hill. Pittsburgh's hills rolling like promises. Wedding was small, backyard. My mom's officiating, rainbow arch strung with lights. Jack in linen. Me in velvet, vows exchanged under oaks. You pinned me down, stole my heart. I give it freely now. Rings simple. Steel bands etched with infinity. Slipped on with tears and cheers. Years blurred into grace. Jack Rose foreman, union rep fighting for fair wages. I published a graphic novel, Stolen Kisses. Our story stylized. Sales funding a studio. Harlan Sr. visited Christmases. Grandkids on his knee. Adopted. 2 boys with his grin and my curls. Tyler mentored at-risk youth. Crediting Jack's kick in the ass. Becca thrived. Single mom fierce. Occasional cards thanking our ghost gift. Milford faded to memory. A sepia sketch. We returned once. 10th reunion. Diner booths scarred but warm. Toasts raised. To bullies redeemed. Kisses that conquered. Jack squeezed my hand under the table. Gray eyes still stormy but clear. Worth the war, he murmured. And it was. In the quiet of our life. Dinners by candlelight. Hikes where he carried me piggyback over streams. Nights bodies entwined. Love's language unspoken. We found the humanistic heart. Not perfection, but persistence. Flaws forged stronger. Betrayals bent to bridges. 2 boys from Ohio mud who'd stolen not just a kiss, but a lifetime. In the end, as snow dusted Pittsburgh's bridges one November eve. 15 years since that field. 15 since his lips first parted under mine. Jack pulled me to the porch, stars pricking the sky. Still fear me? He teased, echoing the bully's ghost. I pinned him gently against the rail, stealing another kiss. Soft now, seasoned with time. Only of losing this. He laughed, deep and free, pulling me close. And in that embrace, America unfolded. Not the Rust Belt cage, but the vast, beating heart. Dramatic, emotional, romantic, raw, human.